I want to mention before the video starts trigger warnings of self-harm, possible suicide baiting, being institutionalized, and police. Hey guys, it's Kid. Today I'm going to be talking about how I almost didn't graduate high school due to circumstances I didn't really have any control over. I graduated March 21st of 2019, and it's still kind of sinking in. Drink champions. I am going to be starting to work full time as of March 1st, and it's like my first professional job. It is just really weird. Like, I'm gonna be 18 in early May as well, so I'm becoming a whole adult really quick. It's weird, but yeah, this is not gonna be a testosterone update video. I am probably only gonna start doing that in 3-month intervals just to get like the full effect. I am about 4.5 months on T right now, but that's again not what this is about. I have a lot of this documented already because I was involved with a lawyer and I wanted to have this all organized and in one place. There are multiple screenshots and pictures of notes. And yeah, I'm going to be reading that off as this video goes and to give some background. My stalker, who I will be referring to as A, I knew him 2 weeks before this happened. He and I met on my backpack. I had 2 pride buttons. One of them said Trans Lives Matter, and the other one was rainbow, and it asked me about my pronouns. And he saw them. After my 6th period, I would leave school and carpool with a friend of mine who had early release as well. And I would sit at this lounge area kind of waiting for her. And he just dropped a note in my lap, basically with his Instagram plugs, just saying who he was and that he wanted to be friends. So I'm like, okay, cool. Someone in the school who's in the community. Sweet. So a lot of the information I have, or all of it, is dated, and it says if I reported it or not. So, yeah. So this all technically started September 15th of 2018. This was a Friday. He posted 2 screenshots. The day prior, so September 14th to 15th, both of which said, how the hell are transgender people that were assigned a female at birth so damn cute? Now, as John Mulaney said, we don't have time to unpack all of that, but he was fetishizing the fact I am a transgender man and incorrectly referred to my identity, so I blocked him on both accounts that these were posted on. I knew this was about me because I am the only trans guy he associates with. The first post was Thursday, the second Friday. And I especially knew this was about me because of the way he described saying transgender people who are assigned female at birth. That's how I had to explain it to him, because he was in the community sexuality wise, but he seemingly didn't really know about trans people, which threw me for a loop. September 17th, 2018, Monday, not reported day of. He approached me in the morning by dropping a note in my lap, walking away before the first bell rang for class. He admittedly was apologizing for the 2 public posts he had made on his Instagram pages and the fact they were referring to me. Now, this is as the note reads. Dear Kit, put my name in quotes as if to discredit it, which really appreciate. Over the week, I was hoping to strengthen our bond, but after the story, it may seem I did the opposite and cut our friendship right down the middle. I shouldn't. I couldn't see the DM and was lost as to how critical the pain was, whether minor or major. My heart went black for a week. Looking back, the story was phrased wrong, and before that, I used to be spoiled like a baby the whole 16 years I've been alive. If we are still friends, take as much time as you need for the pain I did to deal. But if it's over, please be safe and reach your dream. He signed it off. Um, Now, this letter kind of helped me in a way because I didn't know his last name initially, and this helped me be able to report him when the time comes. We're gonna get there real soon. Um, so yeah, it's just he was being very edgy throughout this whole time, and I wasn't appreciating it because like I'm a whole senior, 17. Like, can we please act like mature, please? Don't do the whole pity thing. It's not cute. Doesn't look cute on anyone. So this is when it all begins. This is when it gets juicy. September 18th, 2018, Tuesday, reported. At about 10:30 p.m., the previous sent me these 2 pictures of 2 notes on a third account of his, which I will read once I'm finished reading this, which I hadn't blocked yet. I woke up the next morning and saw the messages he sent me. I took screenshots and blocked the account as well, along with a 4th I was aware of. I immediately made my mom aware of the situation, and she offered to escort me to school and to the principal's office to consult with him about the matter. I expressed it was important for her to go to work because at the time we weren't doing so good financially. Her job, we weren't so sure how confident she was at being able to keep that job. So I was making it very clear she needed to go. Because I thought I could handle it alone also. But she still authorized it. I report his messages as soon as possible. I got to school, and during first period, I went to report it to my principal, Mr. G, because I was worried for both his and my safety for the fact A threatened to harm himself over me and wanted me to actually hurt him as well. Mr. G got Officer Paley, keep that in mind, just his name, please, involved due to how serious the matter seemed to him. I also met Miss C, A's principal, who was trying to assure they were looking out for both his and my safety. Both assistant principals and Officer Paley appreciated the concern for him and considered it admirable. My mom and I were told that he would be removed by his parents for a few days as they were called in, and they talked with Miss C, Officer Paley, and the school psychologist for 3 to 4 hours. So my mom had left work early so she could consult with Mr. G and Officer Paley. The officer had explained, as he was able to give the most information per the KDISD laws, A was to have no form of contact with me through social media or in person, otherwise consequences would take place. He also mentioned to me that A had issues with rejection and that A has issues of which he couldn't go into depth with due to privacy. Now, I understand no one likes rejection. Like, it's not fun, but it's high school. You gotta get over it, my guy. Like, and you can just say he has mental disorders. Like, I do too. I get it. That's code. I get it. I have mental disorders as well. Like, okay. This was A's first major strike, as he knew harassment charges were an option. My mother asked Officer Paley about his parents' reaction and how serious they seemed to take it. Officer Paley informed us that they couldn't say anything about his background considering he was new to the school. His parents seemed put out His parents seemed out of the ordinary for him, but they were aware he had issues. There was a case number formed, and I thought the problem was over. September 19th, 2018, Wednesday. I missed school due to stress and a doctor's appointment. September 20th, 2018, Thursday. Not reported day of. I was waiting for a friend of mine who I carpool with to meet up with me because we both have early release after 6th period. As I was standing by the library, I saw him going down the stairs and he made eye contact with me. This shows he had not missed one day as opposed to many like we were told. At this point, I was avoiding where I used to see A upstairs. I was downstairs when this occurred. September 21st, 2018, Friday, reported. I was talking with a friend of mine by the front of the school/stairway. My ride had called me, so I went to go meet up with her. Not to my knowledge, A had tapped me on the shoulder to try and get my attention. I didn't realize he had done that. I didn't realize it until I saw the camera footage. When I turned around to meet up with my friend, he was right behind me, face to face. I didn't know what to do, so I started walking away. He started walking with me. Not in the direction of his class, mind you. He asked me what had happened between us when the officer had, to my knowledge, clearly explained to him, his parents, and his parents back to A. I told him what he publicly said on social media made me extremely uncomfortable. I couldn't have him hurting himself over me, and that we barely knew each other. He continued to walk with me, and I eventually told him I couldn't talk to him because we were both told to have no contact with one another, and I walked off. All this time, I was holding my phone, getting ready to call my mom or Officer Paley out of fear because I wasn't sure what he was capable of doing at that time. I texted my mom about the encounter and met up with my friend to make sure the bell rung. To hope A should have been in class. My mom told me to report it immediately, so I did to Officer Paley, as Mr. G wasn't present that day. This whole encounter was shown on video, and Officer Paley noted it for Monday when he would bring up Mr. G. We would bring it up to Mr. G. Per Officer Paley, A's parents were called in a second time, stating that they would be taking him out to seek medical treatment. This was the second strike. September 24th, 2018, Monday, reported. I saw Mr. G at my lunch, first lunch of the day, as he washes over the cafeteria. I told him about the incident on Friday, and he said he would get with Officer Paley about it. As lunch ended and I was walking towards the entrance of my cafeteria, waiting to go to 4th period, I looked over and saw A standing up against the wall about or less than 5 feet away from me. I ran away, almost shoving other students out of my way out of fear so I could get to the safety of my class. I wasn't able to go to Mr. G until the end of 5th period, as that was when I could finally talk to him about the lunch incident. It's my understanding A wasn't supposed to be there, let alone on the other side of the building, as he is a freshman and they have a separate cafeteria. So they told me they'd handle it, but they weren't counting this as a third strike. They would not tell my mom of any discipline ticket against A for this incident. September 26, 2018, Wednesday. I missed a day of school because my anxiety was so severe. I was dry heaving and becoming physically ill for 2 hours straight the night before. My mom called Officer Paley to be updated as she was promised one the day before. The officer explained the following to my mother over the phone. A's parents agreed to take him out of school to a hospital that A was seeing a psychiatrist, and his parents were aware of his severe mental state. Officer Paley wasn't certain if or when A would return to school, as there was a chance he would or would not continue to attend my high school anymore. Officer Paley assured my mother to call A's parents to receive. Officer Paley my mom, he'd call A's parents to receive an update on A's status of possibility returning to school, but he did not give my mother a follow-up call. September 27th, 2018, Thursday. My mother called the KDISD dispatch and was told that Officer Paley was out sick for the day. There was a female officer that was going to return the call within an hour for an update, as my mother was told the other officers were aware of the case. There was no follow-up call. Later that afternoon, around 2 p.m., Officer Paley and Mr. G called my mother back and said that him appearing at my lunch wouldn't be considered a third strike, as A did not approach me himself or attempt to harm me physically. Thanks. They continued with saying their hands were tied unless A were to do something or anything else drastic. September 28th, 2018, Friday, I had a friend of mine tell me A was moved into his class, indicating A received a schedule change. This is the big thing. That this is when we take it to a whole different level regarding staff. October 1st, 2018, Monday, reported. Same friend who told me about A's schedule change also sat with me at lunch. He told me that A was sitting outside the cafeteria again. Texted my mom about it, and she contacted Officer Paley about the matter. Mr. G found both my friend and I to ask what the situation was, and we explained he was at the entrance of the cafeteria. Come to find out, A was given a 10th grade ID somehow, when he was supposed to have a 9th grade ID. He was escorted to his principal's, Miss C's office on video by Officer Paley. School took blame for that, admittedly, and that same day had the 10th grade ID confiscated. Miss C called me in her office after 6th period with the permission of my mother, who wanted to be a part of the meeting from the start, but was discouraged by Miss C, as she wanted to speak with me first, so she waited out in the parking lot waiting for the loan meeting to be finished. She was to consult with me first before my mother entered the room with us. I finally was able to consult Miss C about the matter on a serious note, and I had to recite everything, as she was not aware of the circumstances, including the fact that he had a 10th grade ID. After I had finished with what I had to say, as I felt we were talking in circles, she called my mother in. She admitted both my loan meeting and second with my mother present, as she was not aware of him having a 10th grade ID until the day of. She was quick to offer me options to transfer schools or give me passes between classes to isolate me for my safety, rather than giving A, my assailant, options so that he could stay away from me. She only gave me options for between classes, but not for lunch and in the morning before first period. For lunch, she stated there was a team of staff members watching out for A, but that still didn't make me feel secure enough. She kept repeating, "What can I do today to ease you?" As I expressed how this affected me mentally from my anxiety, as I choked up multiple times in her office, holding back tears. I told her the only thing that would make me feel secure is if we weren't under the same roof, and would imply either A or myself leave the school. I told her I'd need time off of school to de-stress, so I wouldn't end up in the hospital due to anxiety or because A possibly harmed me. She questioned how many days I needed off. I didn't give her a definitive answer until I felt effective action was being taken in the case. She expressed, "How would you know if he wouldn't lash out again and if he wouldn't go ballistic?" My mother and I both were in shock at her wording and made us more fearful for my safety. I had expressed multiple times that the staff needed to prevent Austin's uncontrollable behavior rather than waiting for me or anyone else in the school to be harmed further, but she kept avoiding giving a solid answer. My mother and I eventually decided to leave, as we weren't making any progress and simply repeating ourselves. In that instant, we decided to remove myself from campus until sufficient update on A was given. Now, that's not all, but I'm going to stop real quick. Um, I want to mention this whole time when I was dealing with staff, the only staff member involved in this that even remotely took my gender identity seriously was Mr. G and the head principal, which my mother eventually got in contact with. Um, they would use the correct name and kind of go back and forth with the pronouns. But Officer Paley and Miss C did not. During that whole sit down with Miss C, I had to correct her multiple times. I was getting frustrated because one, she wasn't really trying to benefit me, trying to isolate me. I mean, I'm gonna go as far as to say I was feeling a little discriminated against. Um, and the fact that she wasn't being respectful of my pronouns at all was just the kicker. And the fact that I'm trans was a big thing in all of this because I'm almost certain when Officer Paley consulted A's parents and A, he wasn't using my right name and pronouns. So, yeah. So, there's more. After this point, I left school like a month, a whole month, literally to the day, a month. Um, because I wasn't gonna become a hate crime. I wasn't. Trans people, unfortunately, don't have the ease of being able to reject someone, um, and nothing come about it. And I know that. So I was at home for a total of a month, and during this time period, lo and behold, who do I get a message from? From his fifth account. Take a wild guess. Go ahead. So, I get a follow request from A's fifth account, and I'm playing stupid. I know it's him, but I'm playing stupid. I ask who is this? There's a response of A's friend. Really? Do you think I'm stupid, bro? I ask, why are you contacting me? A wanted to say he's sorry and to see what's up. I'll tell him anything you want. I respond with, first off, I don't even know who you are. Because again, playing stupid. Secondly, I'm staying away from him because I'm tired of being stalked. He's supposed to have zero contact with me, and he has been told many times to stay away from me. Okay, sorry for this. He said that he wants to read what you have to say on his LGBT account because the notification won't go away. He won't follow you. He got 2 strikes and went to the hospital, so I'm sure he's not going to do anything wrong after hearing he'll get charges if he does one more time. And I can definitely tell this is him because of his grammar. Like, we met through texting. I'm not stupid. Again, I respond with, all I said was what he said was ignorant, fetishizing my gender identity, and I'm aware he should have stayed away when he was told. I don't care if this is A or if you are his friend, but you should not be contacting me from his fifth account, period. Mind you, this is happening at 1:40 in the morning. 1:40 in the morning. Thank you. Get the response, okay, sorry for the incident. He wanted to ask for an unblock from one of his accounts is all. The balls. The audacity. So I come back with, are you serious? I told you he's supposed to have zero, absolute no contact with me. I'm not giving him access to my account. There's a response. I'll give the news to him. Sorry for this. And then I blocked his 5th account. In my blocks, I have 5 of his accounts. So yeah. And I want to explain the whole fetishizing thing. First off, if you find someone attractive, you don't have to mention they're trans. You don't. Like, oh, you're cute for a trans guy. Yeah, no, that's not a compliment at all. Being trans doesn't have to do anything with how attractive a person can be. If you're saying someone is attractive for a trans person, or they are attractive for being a trans person, that's not cute. We're not items, we're people. I'm a guy. Treat me as a cis guy. Like, it's that simple. Please. But yeah. I want to touch on Officer Paley for a minute. So considering I was in contact with a lawyer, I thought she wasn't really gonna know anyone. She knew who Officer Paley was. In fact, she was suing him at the time for an incident he was involved in the previous year when I was a junior. There was a kid with some sort of disabilities. I don't know personally. I just found this out from the lawyer and through the news. This kid, he had a student contract that if he was being bullied, if he had anxiety or anything, he could step out of the classroom, go outside if need be. He was being bullied one day, and he was trying to go outside, get some fresh air, which, again, he was allowed to do. Officer Paley was not letting him, and they started to struggle. Officer Paley tased the boy 7 times in 20 seconds. An ambulance had to be called. And as he was tasing him, and this is all caught on police cam, by the way, I run this shit. So, that made me feel extremely warm and fuzzy on the inside, knowing that the cop that was dealing with my case was being sued for police brutality. And the school tried to cover it up too, which is great, as they have in other instances. But I digress. So, as of a month, time passing, Mr. G, he worked at this other school for a little bit, and he personally worked with the lone teacher I had at this other school, and he got me in because he knew we were in contact with a lawyer, and he didn't want to risk the school getting sued. But I got in earlier than I was supposed to. There are usually periods where the school gets a bunch of students at once. and it's mostly credit recovery. You're able to fast track, hence why I'm not graduating in May. I'm already graduated, but I went in November, graduated March 21st, 2019. So along with that, I talked with, I think she's a counselor. I'm gonna go with that because I hardly ever talk to teachers. I was in a room all day, one room, lunch, and then back to that room on a computer all day. My last day there, I went and talked with her, just figure out everything. And my diploma is gonna have my full chosen name instead of my dead name. Now, my chosen name, I completely changed it. It's completely different. I didn't even keep the same birth last name. And it was really surprising to me that she says she could do that. I think this is an exception from high school. Because I have another trans friend who goes to a different school, and they said that that wouldn't be an option for them until there was legality out of the way. And when I start to go through the legal name and gender marker change process, as of next weekend, I can send the paperwork and have my transcript match, which the counselor didn't even think that was an option to begin with until she contacted her higher up about it, and they said it was. So yeah, it's pretty neat. So I'm just in disbelief. I got a week off. I got a second spring break, basically. And as of April 1st, I'm going to start working full-time at a dog and cat daycare. Full-time. So, yeah. Things are starting to line up. I'm finally finished with the stress of school and the dysphoria that comes with it. And I'm just glad that I'm in the place that I am now, instead of where I could have gone, going through a long test and strenuous studying for a GED. Not that there's anything wrong with that at all. It's just, I don't know if I would have personally been able to go through with it. High school should not define a person. If you can't handle it, that's okay. Your mental health is more important. It's completely valid. But that's all I have to say for now. Thank you for listening. I hope you have a good day.